seaside city in the Atlantic coast of Argentina. There you can visit the aquarium, the cultural center Victoria Campo, or go to an aquatic park. It has a lot of beaches, but the most important are Playa Grande and Punta Mogotes. If you like architecture, you can visit the Stella Maris Church, the Castellino Museum, and the Santa Cecilia Cathedral. There are lots of love stories in Mar del Plata, but one of the most famous is about the Turrón del Monje. It was about a man who was soldier and worked in the Torreon and fell in love with an Indian girl. Then a cacique, who also wanted the girl, chases them, and they had to jump to the sea in a horse. There are also ghost stories in Mar del Plata, and one of the most famous is about the Unsue. The Unsue now is a cultural center, but in the past it was an orphanage. The story starts in 1927 when a sister went to an oratory to pray. There she met a priest who raped her and left her in a tomb. It seems that the sister got pregnant and then gave born a baby. And now his tears are heard at midnight. And there are also laughs, musical boxes, and opening doors.
So today I'm going to talk about the city Bruges, located in Belgium, because I think it's a great city with a lot of beautiful places, with strange culture difference too. Okay, but what can we do there? In Bruges are a lot of things to do, but in my opinion, the best things to do are visit the Basilica of the Holy Blood, go to the museum, Gallery Expo, where are the work arts of Salvador Dali, and go to the ice festival in winter, of course. But the best way to see the city is in a boat tour. Yeah, in a boat. Because the best way to see the city is from the water. For them, the clean is like a national pride, and the appearance is so important for them because the dress code, they have a dress code, and that is the impression they get from you. Another cultural difference is when you are going to meeting someone for the first time. They never kiss on the cheeks. If they don't know you, of course, they shake hands. Once you get a relationship with a Belgian person, you should kiss them on the cheek, but you should kiss them 3 times on the cheek. Once you get a relationship with a German person, he or she invites you to her or his house, you should give a gift for them. Once you get a relationship with a Belgian person, they will invite you to their house, I suppose. But you should give them a gift. You can bring them flowers or chocolates. Flowers should be given in an odd number, but not 13. Also, you mustn't give them chrysanthemums, because that flower means death for them.
So, Paris, the city of love, romance, fashion, and light? Well, yes, it is called the City of Lights or La Ville Lumière because of 2 things. First, because of its leading role on the Age of Enlightenment, Paris had so much innovation and education. And second, because it was one of the first European cities to adopt street lighting, thanks to the King Louis XIV. Okay, now, knowing this, let's go. Let's start with facts. Paris, capital of France, on Ile-de-France. It is one of the most global and touristy cities, of course, over 30 million tourists every year. Europe's major center of finance, commerce, diplomacy, science, art, and fashion since the 7th century, and the most populous city of France. Also has the second busiest airport and metro system in Europe, and it's the second most expensive city in the world, according to this. Its name is derived from its first inhabitants, the Celtic tree Parisis, and the people are Parisians and their language is French. History time. Romans founded it in 52 before Christ and called it Lutetia, but at the end of the Roman Empire, in the 5th century, it was renamed Paris. Moving on to the time, a king called Clovis the Frank made the city the capital. Some trouble before, Hugh Capet from the Capetian dynasty became the first king of a unified France, and Paris started to grow. History time 2. 18th and 19th century are key moments on history and on the history of Paris as we know, because of the French Revolution and other revolutions that also took place there. Now, curiosities featuring my friend.
Oh, thank you, Sophia. Well, there's a sculpture of a giant thumb, Le Pouce, that is 12 meters high and weighs 18 tons. People really suffer from the Paris syndrome. They get disappointed after idealizing so much the city. Paris, even though it doesn't have a sea, it has a beach. At the Seine River, sure, they put tons of sand where people can go and enjoy. Sorry, I brought a friend, so she's going to tell the last curiosity. Bye. Well, Paris has a little copy of the Statue of Liberty given to it by the USA to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. It's funny because France gifted the real Statue of Liberty to the USA to commemorate the 100th anniversary of its independence.
Okay, I'm back with places to visit. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre Museum, Disneyland Paris, Café La Rotonde, the Moulin Rouge, the Arch of Triomphe, Versailles Palace, and my favorite, the Catacombs. Now I'm going to tell you a ghost story. Well, there are two ghost stories that have to do with haunted houses. So it starts like this. On the Grand Jaubels street, people can confirm that they heard shouts and tin noises. In that same place was the Mount Faucon gallows on the Middle Ages, where thousands of people died. Also, on the Pigalle neighborhood by the Frechot Avenue, there's a haunted mansion where the owners died of diseases and sudden deaths. People say that it was because of the serpents spirits who inhabit the house, and that they hear noises. And last but not least, a love story. This is a story about Elisa and Abelardo. In the year 1100, Pedro Abelardo was a great philosopher who was very famous in Paris at his 35 years old. Also, Elisa was living there too, an 18-year-old woman who was very famous in Paris too, very beautiful and smart. She was living with his uncle, and Abelardo, who fell in love with her, convinced her uncle to let him live with them and to be Elisa's teacher. They fastly fell in love with each other and lived a passionate life together, but her uncle was against that and separated them. Later on, Abelardo raptured Elisa because she was pregnant and took care of the baby together. But it wasn't easy. Abelardo wanted to marry her, but Elisa thought of him first and decided not to do it, because that would ruin his fame. But later, they secretly married. The uncle of Elisa, to take revenge, made the relationship public, which they denied, but it was late and he took revenge in the worst way possible. He cut Abelardo's member, which he says started it all. But they didn't end it all there. They weren't normal. They decided to take the habit so they could be together, but loving God. It was an epistolar love. On the Père-Lachaise cemetery, their bodies are buried together, so you can actually go visit them.
So, goodbye.
I am going to talk about Australia. This is an Oceanian country. The capital is Canberra. Australia is a mother country with beautiful natural landscapes. It's considered the largest island in the world.
The Australian Capital Territory is located approximately 290 kilometers south of Sydney. Sydney is one of the largest cities in Australia. It's famous for the Opera House. In Sydney, there is always something interesting to do. The city has an important culture. Some of the best bars, cafes and restaurants in the country, and also a warm and pleasant climate to enjoy outdoor activities. Australia's main cities are Sunshine Coast, Sydney, Perth, Darwin, Brisbane, Adelaide and more. The kangaroo is the most representative animal in Australia. In total, an estimated 50 million kangaroos live in Australia. Australian cuisine consists of exotic and strange foods. For example, pavlova, kangaroo, crocodile, sugar, bear, and more. Australia's climate is warm and temperate. In Australia, summer goes from December to March, with temperatures of 29 degrees, and winters runs from June to August, with temperatures around 30 degrees. The temperatures always varies a lot from the places.
Hi, I'm Santino, and now I'm going to talk about the place you can't miss if you go to Camboriú. Camboriú is a tourist city in the state of Santa Catarina in southern Brazil. The main ones are obviously the beaches, such as Gamboa Beach, Esteleiro Beach, Praia das Laranjeiras, etc. Another place you can go to is Sunipraias Park, the only one in the world to connect two beaches through aerial funiculars. You can't miss the Light Christ, inspired in the world-famous statue of the Christ the Redeemer of Rio de Janeiro. The Christ light is illuminated at night, also has colored lights on his body that change periodically. Last but not least, the tourist complex do Morro do Careca, held next to the beach to practice adventure sports, such as paragliding. Finally, I want to tell you that if you have the opportunity to know this place, don't hesitate to do so. Thank you.
Hawaii is in the northwest of USA. Hawaii is a 50th state of the United States. It's a volcanic archipelago formed by 122 islands, but in each there are population. Niihau, Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, Kahoolawe, Maui, and Hawaii. It has a population of 1,420,000 and has an area of 28,311 square kilometers. The official language is English, but Hawaiiano is also spoken. It has a fantastic beaches, rainforests, and volcanoes. If you go, you should know Honolulu. In them there are rainforests and the best beach, Waikiki. There are whale beaches that exceed 6 meters high, the Volcanic National Park in Niihau, Maui. It's perfect to deportees because in this you can surf, windsurf, cycling and other activities. Kauai. In this island is known for Secret Beach, as it's ultra difficult to reach. In South Point is Papakolea, the famous green sand beach that gets its colors thanks to the olivine crystals formed by volcanic eruption. There are also several black sand beaches on the large island colored by lava fragments. Hawaii has a subtropical climate. The minimum temperature is 20 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius in summer. The best time of the year to travel to Hawaii is from July to January.